This video is about the ultimate adventure gear for bicycling across Asia. Tomorrow I fly out to China to bicycle across China to Myanmar and then into India. It's probably 4,000 miles. It'll take me a couple months. But before I pack away the bicycle, I thought I'd make an updated video on the ultimate adventure gear to help you out with your bicycling adventures. This would also work for backpacking. As you guys know, I do a lot of walking as well. But this is an updated version for the 2020 calendar year about the ultimate adventure bicycling gear. So the bicycle behind me is a carbon bicycle from the year 2003, so it's an older style carbon bike, and it's been on every adventure I've been on. I've bicycled across the United States. I bicycled from Vancouver to Toronto. I bicycled from Spain to Greece. I bicycled across Australia. I bicycled from the top of South America in Colombia all the way down to the bottom of South America, and then back up to Buenos Aires, and I bicycled from the United States all the way down to Panama. I've also walked the United States twice, walked the islands of New Zealand, climbed Aconcagua. So those are just some of the things I've done. Sometimes commenters get, they find it a little interesting the items I take, but I'm not too specific in the brand that I take, but I am specific in the type of gear that I take. So here's a quick rundown, hopefully, of the gear that I'm going to take for my next adventure from across Asia. So again, the bicycle is the biggest thing, pretty much the love of my life. I couldn't tell you how many 20, 30, 40,000 miles the thing has on it. As far as training, before I get started with the gear, I didn't ride on the road at all. I do have a training video of all of the adventures before I go bicycling. I kind of give you some tips that I've used in the past, but this time, the way it worked out, I haven't ridden since I got back from Argentina, which was, I don't know, 6 months ago. So I just rode on the trainer, maybe 20 to 30 miles at most. I haven't ridden on the road at all, so I'm a little worried. I hope I still remember how to ride on the road once I get started. But it's a carbon bike, all carbon bike from the year 2003. 2 large water bottles I carry. I use 2 mirrors. There's also a GoPro. There's also some glasses that I use. They're like safety glasses. There's a video I tell you on how to store everything as well if you want to watch the video on how I actually store the gear. This time I'm just going to update you on the gear I'm taking. I have a rack in the back. This black thing that's on the rack, that's an extra tire that I use. It's a gator skin. I use Schwalbe's right now. I love them. My last Schwalbe went 4,000 miles. So it went all the way from Santiago, Chile, all the way to the bottom of South America and back up to Buenos Aires. And I never had to replace them. That's the first trip I've done without having to replace tires. So I definitely recommend the Schwalbe Marathon Plus. In the kit, back here I have 2 tire levers. I'm only taking 2 tubes. 2 things of glue. I always take 2 things of glue because some of them dry out sometimes and I don't want to be short on glue. I have about 8 patches in there as well, and I have a little bit of chain lubricant. I'm only taking 2 tubes. On the last trip I took 4 because I was in South America, and I've had at least 7 flats in one day on some of these trips. But I figured China's gonna have everything I need, so I don't need to go crazy with all the extras. So it's just 2 tubes this time. If you watch previous pedals, years and years ago I went to platforms. I love platforms, definitely recommend it. If you're going to go touring, it helps you, you're stopping, all that good stuff when you're jumping on and off the bike. All right, to the clothing. So I only carry 1 pair of socks, 1 bike shirt, and then the other shirt I have extra is the shirt I'm actually wearing now. I call it a town shirt. It's more like a mountain bike shirt. It has pockets in it as well. Also, I'm wearing shorts that I wear as my town wear. So I slip my shorts over. It carries my passport, my money, so I can go into a store, restaurant, whatever. So 2 pair of bike shorts. And again, one of the tips I use is that I actually wear both pairs for probably the first 2 weeks while my body gets used to the 8 to 12 hours a day riding on the bicycle. Some of you guys commented that you never thought about that. So yeah, that's something I definitely do, especially at the beginning of a long trip, is wearing the 2 shorts. I used to carry more clothes. One of my first long adventures was the Appalachian Trail, and that year it rained for 33 days in a row, and literally everything gets soaked, no matter how you store it, no matter how waterproof it is. and that really changed my mind about carrying so much. Really, your body is the best way to dry clothes. So I really pretty much, now all my travels around the world, I just carry an outfit. So I'll wear this shirt every single day, and when I shower at night, I'll wash it in the shower and then try to dry it. If I can't dry it, I'll wear it. But that's how I get away with just wearing one set of clothes, because again, I've been in rains that lasted for weeks on end, and it doesn't work out. No matter how you try to keep it dry, it's going to get wet. So it's easier to just wear the same thing and make it dry. I carry a handkerchief. This time I'm carrying 3 rain jackets. I used to carry this is a bicycle rain jacket, pretty lightweight, doesn't have a hood. The last rain jacket I carried on my last one, it had a hood, and it was so windy down in South America in some of the sections that I felt like it was just pillowing up on me. So I'm going to try a bicycle jacket. It's way more expensive than a normal jacket, but I like the color that it's orange, so hopefully people see me. This is just like a $10 rain jacket that I got just to throw over. And then I have a nice, what I consider nice, again, it's not too expensive. It's a company called Compass 360 that makes the rain gear. So 3 rain jackets on this trip. 2 pants, that's rain pants I got. So that one doesn't have any pockets. This one is more of a town wear. Again, it's Compass 360. It's got pockets. I can, when I'm in town, look a little more appropriate and not wearing shorts. Again, I'm going in the wintertime, so I have a feeling I'm going to wear pants. Normally, I wouldn't take that style of pants that has pockets because of the extra weight. But because I feel like I'm going to wear pants a lot, I think it's worth a couple extra ounces. I don't, while I'm talking about weight, I don't necessarily, I don't weigh stuff, count, that kind of particular, but I am particular about the little things. I won't carry anything extra, but I don't, I don't know how to explain it to you. As far as warmth, I wasn't sure if I was going to go, how cold it's going to get, if I was going to be able to get into Tibet, but it sounds like I'm not going to go into Tibet. So once I get to Chengdu, I'll head south and try to get into Myanmar, and then the weather should warm up once I do Myanmar and India. But I'm bringing a down vest. It's a really old vest. I've had it well over a decade now, that I'm going to take with me as my warmth. If I were going into Tibet, I would get probably a warmer jacket. But since there's regulations, things like that, being a non-Chinese citizen getting in Tibet. So I don't think I'm going to go, so I don't have to worry. Worst case, I can always get something, I guess. Hands are real important. So these are gloves. I have a hard time finding good gloves. So make sure you find gloves that you can shift gears with, that kind of thing. I usually carry a visor for the sun. And then I finally figured out, actually, the visor is for the rain. And it actually works, your sun will get baked, but it actually works a lot better in the rain. But this time I'm actually trying a cycling hat. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I don't like things that are flashy like that, but I'm going to try a cycling hat to see if I like it. Some other cold wear gear is I got a neck gaiter, kind of face half gaiter. I also have a warm beanie that I've taken on pretty much every trip I've ever been on. That's in the cooler weather. And then here's a waterproof bag that keeps that stuff warm. Then there's the panniers, I guess the most important after the bicycle. It's just what's holding all this gear. So these are really old panniers that I have that I've actually sewn on some mesh netting so I can put potato chips bread, and actually designed I just use old bags that actually holds another water bottle if I need it inside this. So again, I'm not too picky about the actual brand that you use. I think that if you love your equipment, it'll get you wherever you want to go. Here's the other, you can see that sewed on bag that I made. I actually taught myself how to sew because I was started backpacking and the market wasn't making what I wanted, so I started making my own tarps and altering my backpack, sleeping bag, stuff like that. Another thing I started to carry now is shoe covers and handlebar mitts. So when I was crossing the Alps in the wintertime, getting over Italy into Croatia, my hands were actually freezing, my feet were freezing, so I started carrying those. And then I've even carried them in warmer climates, never used them, but I still take them because it's absolutely miserable to be riding with cold feet and cold hands. So I take those now. I have a Giro. I pretty much used Giro the whole time since I've been riding. I buy it because it's a great helmet. Giro actually helped me out with this one. Got it into me in time so I could use it for this trip. So big thanks to Giro for getting me this helmet. As far as sleeping, I don't know if you can see how disgusting this thing is. I literally just lay this on the ground. It's just a inflatable mattress pad. I'm not taking a tent this time, and because I'm going to probably some of the most populated areas on the planet, I have a feeling that I'm not going to be sleeping outside much, but I'm still bringing gear to sleep outside, which I don't know if it's a good thing or not, because it's a lot of extra weight for maybe 2 nights. And if you've watched my other videos, you've seen that, you know, I walked Israel and without a tent, and it ended up raining like 10 or 15 days. On my last trip, 77 days from Santiago to up to Buenos Aires, I think I don't know if I even used the tarp, you know, because I'm used to just sleeping on the ground. I find a natural cover, something like that, so I don't set up the tarp. But anyways, even though it's overpopulated, Myanmar, you're not even allowed to camp outside as a tourist. You're supposed to stay in an established hotel or some kind of bed and breakfast, is the way I'm understanding the visa. So I'm going to have to go from town to town. So I don't know that I'm going to be spending much time outside. But anyways, nonetheless, I'm taking the stuff. So this, instead of a tent, I'm taking a bivy sack. And then 3 sleeping bags. So it's technically 4 if you count the bivy. This is an insulated Primaloft. A friend gave this to me. These, if you watch my other videos, they're just small next to skin. I have 2 of them. The bags really bust on these, but I'll just end up crushing it. So 2 of those. They go down to about 40 degrees, I think. And they're just really great because you can add one, subtract really easy. And they're not just a huge sleeping bag. So if they get wet, you got a better chance of drying. And then a bag that holds more waterproof bag. It actually sits on the back of this bike here, actually this way. So hopefully vehicles can see me. I also have a diamond that I use, and also have some flashing lights, that kind of thing. I'll try to hurry up and finish this up. I use one bike lock, and again, there's a video on how I store all this stuff. I'll tell you guys that I store it in the front. That way I will actually use it. So far, I've gotten around the world. So we'll see if I make it this time and bring the bicycle back home. It's always a concern, but because the bike's so old, there's not much value to it. I just use running shoes, normal running shoes. So, and then also carry a vest. And again, this one is really heavy as far as, but it's just a keepsake that I bought from Croatia. As far as electronics, I carry a GPS. My phone is a navigation system, and then I carry a point and shoot camera that I just hold in the back of my pocket, and then there's a kind of knockoff GoPro on the front that I take some videos sometime. All the electronics, the battery, charger, the cords, they're in this waterproof bag here, so that's what's in the bag. This is a small backpack. I don't have it out, as you can see, but when I'm in town, when I want to go to the grocery store, I throw this on and then bring it back. I can also wear it, so for some reason I overstuffed the panniers. Also have a 3rd bag, which I don't want to be in that scenario, but that's what it's there for. Hygiene, a lot of people always a little confused about the hygiene, because it almost seems like I'm not carrying anything, which that's the goal in life, is to not carry anything. The heaviest thing I do carry, which a lot of people don't carry, is a shaver. So instead of paying for haircuts, shaving the hair off my face, I use a shaver. Also in here you see a pair of scissors, fingernail clippers, and then tweezers. So that's the heaviest thing that I could probably get away without, but I carry it. And then I have a toothbrush, toothpaste, and then on my last trip I actually did this like 300-mile rafting trip. I didn't use soap at all for like the 3 weeks I was doing it. But this time I think I'm gonna take soap. I've been to China before, and they don't always have toilet paper. They don't always have soap, that kind of stuff. I don't have my toilet paper up here, but toilet paper is something else that I'll be taking. And usually I don't take toilet paper because you're gonna find it in the airport. You'll find it in restaurants, hotels, stuff like that. But I'm going to take it because China, even though they're developed, they say they're developed you'd be amazed. You'll be in a place and there's, I know in the train station, stuff like that, you still have to buy it from someone, and it's not what you think of as toilet paper. It's just like maybe a piece of paper or something like that, and they'll give you like 5 of them. So when I'm used to the world, the roll. So another thing that I didn't use on the last bicycling trip, but I used it every single day when I was my last kayaking trip, was this filter. And it's absolutely miserable to live off this filter. It feels like you're gerbil dripping water. So I really can't recommend this, but I'm going to take it because with such a large population, I'm sure the water's probably not the best for me to straight drink. So if I do need it, I'll have it there. So that's it as far as the gear. There's one thing that I really don't want to mention, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it. And you can follow the adventure, see the photos, Instagram. I'm also on WeChat if you want to follow me that way. I'll try to remember to provide a link. But I don't like to use bug spray, sunscreen on any of these adventures that I do. And unfortunately, sometimes I do. If I'm just, absolutely baking in the sun for days on end, sitting in the ocean, I'll wear it. But in general, I don't wear it, so I'm not taking any bug spray, anything like that. But this is a dust mask. That last time I was in China, I had this cough and these bloodshot red eyes for about 100 days after I got back. So I tried practicing with this thing on, but it definitely takes the oxygen away. So, but I thought it's the winter time, so if nothing else, it'll keep my face warm. I hate that I'm taking it, but I think I'd rather complete the trip than stopping. So the money, I just carry my credit cards and cash inside a rubber band here, and then I have my passport. And again, I store those in the shorts that I wear, and then I slip the shorts on when I stop to get something to eat, go inside, leave the bicycle behind. That way, if someone takes the bike, I have my camera in my backpack and in the back of my shirt, and my money and identification on me. And it's not in the bicycle, so they can have the bicycle. The last thing I can maybe help out with, if you are going to travel to China, Myanmar, India, Laos, Thailand, I think Laos, Thailand doesn't require, if you're a U.S. citizen, UK citizen, Australia, kind of like, those kind of countries, for you to have a visa. You can get one on your entry. India, they have e-visa that you can get. Actually, India was actually the hardest visa, the tourist visa, for me to get, and that's just because it's not as simple as you would think most e-visas are. I got the 1-year e-visa. It was 30 days, and I thought 30 days would be enough, but I was having a problem with the computer, and then I ended up just applying for the 1 year, and I was able to get through it. It took them about 2 to 3 business days to get me that e-visa to India. But it says you can only go into ports of entry where e-visa is accepted. And that was one of the things I was having problems with. I kept asking, I was emailing India, I was calling the embassy in Washington for India, asking which port of entry do I need to go into if I'm bicycling from China to Myanmar to India? And nobody could really give me that answer. And I've 2 different people, one in Washington and one here in Atlanta, said that it doesn't matter what the port of entry is on the e-visa. So I'll find out. So Myanmar, same way. Like I told you earlier in the video, you're not allowed to supposedly sleep outside. So I don't know what's going to happen, if what the deal is. And then of course China, it's in the news. I have a 10-year visa to China. I've been to China before, but I don't always say the nicest things on social media about China. So we'll see what happens there. But my goal is to get across the Middle East. As you can see on the map, I'm just trying to go around the world bicycling, hiking, and a lot of other different adventures. One other tip I can give you, I think I wanted to just share, and I don't know if I've shared in other, I really don't look at these huge adventures. Like, I want to say the last bicycling one was like, I don't know, was it 6,000 miles? I'm not sure. But I don't look at it as 6,000 miles. I really just look at it as today. How far do I have to go today to get to the next water source, the next food, the next place to sleep? and then I'll plan for tomorrow, and then I'll plan the next day. I can't plan, or I don't want to plan out the next 100 days, because especially when you're walking, you really learn that is that there's over 2,000 miles I have to walk, and I can walk 20 miles a day for 100 days. But if you'll just live for this moment, if you'll just live for today, and you'll enjoy it, and then tomorrow you'll enjoy it, you can keep going as far as you want to go, and you don't have to try to say, I'm going to do this at day 20, and day 25 I'm going to be here. I definitely don't live life in my own personal life like that. Today I'm going to do the best I can, and then tomorrow I'll do the best I can. But this video is about the gear that I'm using to bicycle from Shanghai is the idea to Chengdu, and then from Chengdu I'll start heading south into Myanmar, and then try to get over to India, and then get all the way over to the west coast of India, where I can start connecting where I stopped over in Israel and Greece. All right, well, comment, let me know if you need anything else, if I can help you. And again, I'll try to put the how you can follow me on Instagram if you're into that, or WeChat, or on Facebook. And let me know if I can do anything else to help you with your adventure. And again, this adventure, it's almost the same when I go backpacking. The only difference is that I carry a different backpack, but much of the gear is the exact same thing when I go biking, backpacking, or even kayaking around the world. All right, thanks, guys.